So we've been working on this battle rifle. I think this is part 4. And we're going to work on this piece right here for now. I did find another reference image for this part. And you'll notice we made it pretty hard, but it should be a little bit more concave there. So I will fix that first before moving on to the next section. So I'm control tabbing into vertex mode. And then I'm going to hit Control R and create a wing loop here. Now I want these to be all at the same height, so I'm going to hit SZ0. And then I can just start scaling this in toward the middle. SX. And I want it to scale inward, and not both inward and outward like that. So there's a few different options there. I think that if we make this our active selection, we can go to active element and then SX, and yep, that worked pretty well. I also will want to grab all of these with box select. There we go. And then I'm going to shift alt right click the bottom ring to deselect it. And then shift right click twice to make sure my active element is in the middle. And then SX, squeeze that in. And the exact dimensions of this don't matter too much right now because it will eventually be covered up by this piece here. We do want to actually have that kind of roundedness though. So one more time, SZ0, whoops, SZ0, active element, SX. And I think that's a little bit more true to the actual dimensions of the weapon. Alright, so now I'm going to move on to this part. And this part is actually surprisingly difficult. It's kind of spherical, I mean it's kind of cylinder-like here, but then as we move down, the top is pretty flat, and the sides are pretty flat, but they're not completely flat, and I can show you another image here. So, very round there, hard edge, hard edge, hard edge, hard edge, rounded corners, and this is pretty flat, but it's like halfway between being flat and round. So that is fairly difficult to replicate, especially with these holes in the side. So we'll just dive in and try our best. I'm not sure if I'm actually going to be able to replicate this perfectly. Now I want this to scale in toward the middle again. And I'm not sure what the best way to do that would be. So I'm just going to create a vertex in the very center. And for that, I'm going to hit Shift D to recreate this line. And then W subdivide. And now we've got a vertex in the very center. And I'm sure that there was a better way to do this without all this extra work, but I don't know what the best way would be. So this is what we have. Now I'm going to grab this face and E to extrude. Go into vertex selection mode. Shift right click that extra vertex we made. And this will be deleted later, it's just kind of a helper vertex for now. And so then with active element as our pivot point, we can scale in. Maybe like there. It's not an exact science. Oh, we do have a reference image, so bring that in further. Yeah, that's better. Maybe a little taller. Like so. Alright, so now we can clean up our helper vertex. So I'm going to grab this guy and hit Control L. And that gave us this whole section, and we can just delete that. And I'm trying to decide if I want more vertices on this ring, because there's quite a bit of detail right here. And I don't think we have quite enough geometry to replicate that effectively. So I don't know. I don't know what the best approach would be. There is kind of a bump right here, so we can do that on these guys. E to extrude, SZ0. And I'm going to bevel that with Control B. And for the mirror, make sure clipping is enabled and bring that over. Alright, so it comes down right here. But it's not scaling in like that. It's actually just flattening out at the top. So I'm going to grab off maybe all of these vertices, like so. Why don't I include that one as well? And then I'm going to hit S, Z, and scale it in. And the sides also flatten out. You know what? They actually start being flat pretty far back. So why don't we take from here, actually from here, it's like that to there. SX, scale in. And this is by no means an easy thing to model. So if you can follow along for this video, you're getting pretty good. Alright, so now I'm going to alt right click here and make sure we compare this to the reference image. That looks good. Extrude this forward. Now what exactly is happening here? It almost seems like it's going back to... No, it's actually flattening out more. So everything on the edge raises up so that we have a completely flat top. So let's get it almost to that point and then extrude this over like so. Now we can take from here to here, SZ0. And including this whole bottom section, we can bring this forward. That looks pretty good. Extrude that forward. And I'm nervous about this inset part here. I don't know how we're going to handle that. We will want this section to come out more. So from here to here, and here to here, SX, bring that down and over. And I'm just going to go ahead and box select everything here and bring it down. Create one more wing loop and repeat our box select. And SX0.